She spent years believing the judges were underscoring her. Then, at the Olympics, she did something nobody expected. And that moment became more memorable than a gold medal. It happened in Nagano in 1998 with one of the most controversial figure skaters of the 90s, Surya Bonaly. By that point, she had already spent years being considered one of the strongest athletes in women's figure skating. Powerful triple jumps, incredible speed, technical difficulty that many of her rivals simply could not match. But there was a problem. For the judges, it never seemed to be enough. Almost her entire career, Bonaly kept hearing the same things. Not graceful enough, not artistic enough, not right for women's figure skating. Even though technically, she was often doing more than everyone else. And over time, that turned her career into a constant conflict, not just with competitors, but with the entire system of figure skating itself. To understand why her performance in Nagano became legendary, you have to go back much earlier. Surya Bonaly was born on Réunion Island, a French territory in the Indian Ocean. Later, she was adopted by a French family and grew up in France. From the very beginning, she looked different from most skaters of her era. Women's figure skating at the time followed a very specific image. Judges valued elegance, softness, ballet-like movement. But Bonaly skated with completely different energy, faster, stronger, more aggressive. She looked less like someone trying to perform beautifully to music and more like an athlete who came to win. And most importantly, she was doing things other women simply were not doing. Huge triple jumps, difficult combinations, and above all, the backflip, a backwards somersault on ice. The move was considered so dangerous and unusual that figure skating had banned it back in the 70s. In fact, the ban came shortly after the 1976 Olympics, where American skater Terry Kubica became the first person ever to land a legal backflip at the Games. Soon after that, the ISU banned the element entirely, officially because it was dangerous. But many believed there was another reason. The move looked too acrobatic for a sport that wanted to preserve an image of elegance. For years, the backflip disappeared from competition, but not from Bonaly's training. She kept practicing it anyway, and the stronger her technique became, the stranger the scoring started to look. She won European championships, became a world medalist, but when it came to the biggest titles, something always seemed to hold her back. One of the biggest controversies came at the World Championships in 1994. After her performance, Bonaly once again expected to fight for gold. Instead, the title went to Japanese skater Yuka Sato. And that's when one of the most infamous moments of her career happened. During the medal ceremony, Bonaly refused to stand on the top podium step next to the winner. For some people, it looked disrespectful. For others, it looked like the reaction of someone who had spent years feeling judged differently from everyone else. And with every season, the tension between Bonaly and the figure skating system kept growing. By the time the Olympics in Nagano arrived, she was no longer seen as the main favorite, but as the skater constantly surrounded by controversy. Then her body started failing too. Shortly before the Games, Bonaly injured her Achilles tendon. For a figure skater, that is almost a disaster. Jumps become painful, landings become unstable. But she decided to compete anyway. After the short program, Surya was only in 6th place. Once again, the scores were lower than she expected. Then, during the free skate, she made a mistake. And at that level, one mistake can end everything. Almost immediately, Bonaly realized the medals were gone. For most athletes, that moment becomes about one thing, simply finishing the program. But Bonaly had something else in mind. For years, she had been told she did not fit the ideal image of figure skating. Not graceful enough, not artistic enough, not correct enough. Even though technically, she often did more than everyone else. And now, with nothing left to lose, she decided to do the one thing the judges definitely did not want to see: the backflip. A move that had been banned in figure skating for more than 20 years. Performing it meant an automatic deduction. But at that point, Bonaly no longer cared, because the medal was never going to be hers anyway. So in the middle of her Olympic program, she accelerated into a move nobody else would dare attempt: a backflip landing on one foot. And even that was another challenge to the system. Most skaters who performed backflips in shows landed on 2 feet. Bonaly landed it on one, cleanly, confidently, right there on Olympic ice. The crowd exploded. Commentators could not believe what they had just seen, and the judges silently applied the deduction. Later, many people said that was the exact moment Bonaly stopped trying to earn their approval. She simply did what she believed was right. In the end, Surya Bonaly finished only 10th at the Olympics. No medal, no victory, no perfect ending to her career. But then something strange happened. Years later, most people no longer remember who won women's gold in Nagano. But they remember Bonaly, and they remember the backflip. Because sometimes one moment becomes more unforgettable than first place. After the Olympics, Bonaly slowly stepped away from competitive skating, but she never left the ice completely. She continued performing in professional shows, worked with younger skaters, and later moved to the United States. And over time, her backflip became one of the most iconic moments in figure skating history. But the biggest irony of the entire story came years later. In 2024, the ISU officially removed the ban on backflips, almost half a century after introducing it. Then, at the 2026 Olympics, Ilya Malinin became the first skater in decades to legally perform a backflip on Olympic ice. The crowd loved it. Commentators called the moment historic. And suddenly, people started remembering Surya Bonaly all over again. Because long before figure skating was ready to accept the move, she had already made it legendary.